Hello, hello. This is Adrienne Obi, a Capricorntigress of Astrology Look Inside. And I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm coming to you with my monthly horoscopes for the month of March of 2019. I'm going to start with the sign of Sagittarius. And hello, Saggies. Hello, my fellow Saggies. I am actually a Capricorn, with Capricorn rising in Western astrology, but a Sagittarius with Sagittarius rising in Eastern astrology. And so I feel a great deal of simpatico. I feel very close to you, Saggies. So a lot of the emphasis in the month is going to be on the fourth house. That's the home. There's been some emphasis there. And this really started back around the 6th of March when the new moon was in Pisces, conjoined Neptune in Pisces. And you felt that. I'm sure you felt this emphasis in the home over the month of March. There's also Neptune that was conjoined the new moon, as I mentioned it, but also Mercury has retrograded in the sign of Pisces and has been in Pisces all month and will be in Pisces or retrograde until the 28th. And so a lot of that confusion that you might feel in your home life is going to probably hang around until the 28th. And so I don't know how it's affecting you personally, Saggy, but I can tell you my own personal Saggy story so that you can see if something similar is happening with you. So every year, you have to do your leases. And I'm in an apartment and I live in Seattle, which is one of the most horrendous rental places in the nation right now. And I am in a situation where I have not renewed my lease. It's now in the middle of March. I have, I think, until the 1st to actually, I'm afraid because if he doesn't renew it by the 1st, then that means I have 10 days to vacate. Where would I go? Now, it doesn't mean that he's going to do that, but it's because he's already said to me that he's going to raise the rent $50, and therefore, I think I'm okay. But it's just the nebulousness of it and not knowing when it's going to be signed and when it's all going to be taken care of. And that's the kind of vibe that you're getting. A renewal, rewrite of a lease is very Mercury retrograde. So it's probably best not to sign it until after the retrograde. Okay. And I would suggest that for anyone who's got something serious like, a lease signing or anything to do with their home that could affect their home in a serious way. Do it after the 28th. Also, there's some emphasis in your fifth house because of Chiron going into Aries. That's been a big deal for a lot. And that's your fifth house of children, romance, dating, fun, all those joyful activities, gambling, taking risks, even your own entrepreneurial business, if you're a business owner, all of those can be affected when Chiron is in Aries because it's saying you've got to heal that. So if you have children, it could be healing your relationship with your children. If you've got issues with your partnerships or your love affairs or marriage, I wouldn't say marriage so much, but it could indicate that. So I would take this time to heal that area because Chiron is there healing those wounds and making the hurt go away, healing the wounds and making the old pain and tears go away. So take this opportunity to make those tears go away. On the 20th, the sun's going to be there as well in Aries in your fifth house. And the only issue with that is that same day on the 20th, the moon's going to be opposing your fifth house from the 11th. So there could be some issues with your friends or your associates or groups and organizations you belong to, maybe somehow affecting your love life or your children in some way, or perhaps you'll do something with your children or they'll somehow mix or not mix. But just be aware that that day that this occurs is on the 20th of March. It is a full moon. It is going to affect your friendships and also your romance. So that is the area of emphasis for most Saggies, okay? Regardless of what you have in your actual natal chart. Okay, remember that. Some other emphasis for the month is in the sixth house of work. Work has been highlighted and will be highlighted for quite some time. You may find that over the course of the next 6 or 7 years, that your work life and your health are going to make some dramatic changes, hopefully for the better and not for the worse. And this is because Uranus is in the sixth house of health and work. And so it's indicating that there is change afoot in that area for you. Mars is there during the month of March, so it's putting a lot of focus and activity and emphasis there. So I would think that during March that you have been focusing more on your work than you might have been prior to March. Okay, you guys. Well, this has been my reading for you, Saggies, and may the force be with you. And also, I hope that that full moon on the 20th does something good. Hopefully, I mean, maybe you'll have a spark of some kind in your online activities or your presence or friendships that you make online. So good luck with that, Sag. Next, we have the sign of Capricorn. Hello, Cappies. My fellow Capricornians. I love you, Cappies. I am technically a Capricorn in Western astrology with Capricorn rising. And I was just telling Saggies that in Eastern astrology, I'm a Sag with Sag rising. But I feel a kinship with my Capricorn brothers and sisters. And I really want to make a big deal of what we Caps are going through in the month of March. The first thing I will say is that Venus has been in the second house of money. I don't know if that means that you've been spending more or if you've been gaining more or trying to find more pleasant ways of getting money or something of that effect. Also, what you have to give. You've been probably feeling more giving. And that's a very good thing for Caps whenever they feel more giving. The other emphasis has been all of that Pisces, and that is a natural sextile to Capricorn. And so we felt that pleasantness that comes from having that sextile, the sun sextile us in Capricorn, and well, the sun in Pisces, sextiling us Capricorns. And so we really have been having a lot of emphasis in the area of communication because that's where Pisces falls for us. It's been a little hard. I'm going to say this as a Capricorn. Now, I don't know if this has affected all Capricorns or if I've just been feeling this kind of way because I am a Sag in Eastern astrology and I just can't deal with all the Pisces issues. But Neptune in the third house has made communication a little nebulous. Also, because of that new moon falling on that Neptune on the 6th, we're dealing with that until the 20th. And I have felt that. I've missed so many appointments. I have my own webinars that I did like for 13 weeks. So far, I've missed 2 out of 3 weeks because of either Benadryl or some type of illness or someone interrupting or having other conversations that ran over. And there's all of these other things. So and I keep an egg timer by my desk so that I can stay on top of my communications and my timing and getting to where I need to be at that right time. Because getting from point A to point B to point C in a day or for appointments or whatever is important. And I'm having trouble working from home online. I can only imagine what it's like for Caps who have to get from appointment to appointment to appointment, via vehicle. So be aware of that because with Neptune in the third house, with Mercury retrograding in the third house, with the new moon that was in the third house, then there's a lot of emphasis in short distance travel and communication with your cars and traveling and buses and all of that. So be aware that that could be an issue for you. Another area emphasis would be the fourth house because of Chiron going there. There could be some silent pain or some healing going on. Hopefully, you'll be able to heal whatever's been going on with your family and your home life. And that should really come into play during the 20th of March. And that's because Chiron is going to be highlighted by the sun, and the sun is going to be in this area on the 20th. And then at that same time, the full moon is going to be in Libra on the 20th, opposing the sun in Chiron. And that full moon is falling where? In the 10th house, Caps. That is our natural house. So we could be emotional in our careers and our reputation. It could have to do something to do with motherhood, or being a mother, or mothering others, or being a mothering figure in our careers, or anything of that nature. This is being played out in the month of March. Another thing that's being played out in the month of March is our children, or romances, or like dating and taking risks. And this is because Mars and Uranus is now in Taurus in the fifth house, and the fifth house rules these areas. So to me, I see a little bit of emphasis on children and mothering for the month of March. If that actually plays out that way, I would love to hear how that does play out. But be cautious, you guys, because Mars and Uranus are in the fifth house. And Uranus could spur you on to do something sudden out of the blue, and so not you. And it could mean that you could take chances that you wouldn't otherwise take. So be aware of that, especially in the area of love. All right. Good luck with March. And, well, at least until April. I'll talk to you soon, Cappies. Next is Aquarius. Hello, Aquarius. It's so funny. I love when I do the last 4 signs, because I feel kinship with all 4 signs. Now, I am a Capricorn, with Capricorn rising. As I mentioned in Eastern astrology, I'm a Sag with Sag rising. But I also have Aquarius intercepted in my first house in Western astrology. And so I feel a deep relationship with being an Aquarius persona, and all the quirkiness that comes with it. And so I really feel this. So let's take a good look at what's going on for you, Aquarius, okay? The big thing, you've got Venus in the first house. You Aquariuses have been looking much more attractive and being much more pleasant and easy to get along with than normal. I just feel like you've been probably very pleasant, maybe even more attractive. You might have gained a little weight, though. Venus in the first house tends to deal with weight issues. It can make you look more attractive, but it can make you gain weight. So I would be cautious of overdoing it, like overdoing it with alcohol and drink and food and partying too much and stuff like that, because it's easy to do that. I would use this time with Venus in the first house to make myself look more attractive and to heal myself. Do what you can. You could be having some issues with your legs, and also your feet. I don't know why I felt a need to let you guys know that. The other issue for you guys, for Aquarius, is the second house. Man, this has been a house that's been a month that's been dealing with the second house. There could be some confusion with money. And this is because Neptune is in the second house. The new moon was there on the 6th. And Mercury is retrograding in the second house. Mercury is retrograding in Pisces. And man, I don't know if it means you're going back. This is what I would do when Mercury is retrograding in the second house. Go back over all the things that you can that either cost you money waste money or could make you money. And if you've got things that you left on the table that could make you money, go back and figure out how you can take advantage of this and make the money, because this is what that Mercury retrograde is asking you to do. Review it and revive it and rejuvenate it and, just re-explore these money-making opportunities. And they exist for you, Aquarius. Aquariuses are known for money-making, for being money-making geniuses. They're known as mavericks, is the word they use for Aquarius often. And it's because you guys are often very intelligent when it comes to making money. Now, Mercury might be retrograding in March, but take this opportunity to revive and renew and review things so that when it goes forward at the end of March and goes into April, you can start actually making that money. Okay? Another area is Chiron in the third house. It's now there in Aries. It just means that you're going to be healing your communications and the way you communicate and how you communicate and how much you communicate. And there could be some pain involved in this. It might not be easy at first. You might not like communicating. But if you heal this area, and this could also not just be communicating in general, but it could be communicating with your neighbors, your family, like your brothers and your sisters and your cousins and your aunts and your uncles and your, stuff like that. This is a great time to heal those relationships. If you've not talked with extended family, reach out to them, especially from the 20th on. On the 20th of March, the sun's going to be in the third house of Aries. Chiron's going to be in the third house of Aries, but the full moon is going to be in the ninth house of Libra, opposing it in Aries. And so use that full moon to improve partnerships of all kinds. But in this case, it's in the ninth house of long distance travel, education, dogma, your philosophy, the way you think about life. So if you're communicating with people, be sure that these don't, if they don't mesh, don't get into arguments over these things, because politics and things like religion and politics and sexual preference and racial differences, these are things that are charged, and they can make emotions high. So when the full moon is there on the 20th and after that, be cautious of that. Okay. And finally, one final word of to you, Aquarius, which is that Uranus, which is your ruling sign, Aquarius, is going into the sign of in Taurus, and it is, I think, at 0 degrees of Taurus right now in the fourth house, and Mars is also going to be in the fourth house. Wow. So be aware of this activity that could be happening in the fourth house. This could come out in certain ways. In a positive way, it could come out if you have, say, a business, a home business, and it's coming out from you working and being more active at home and, say, your home business. I can see that. Or it could be something sudden, out of the blue, occurring with your home life. This could, but doesn't mean it could be, but it could include, electrical storms, electrical problems, even fires. Sorry. Be aware of this. Now, in the beginning, I told you I had Aquarius intercepted my first house. I'll tell you how it affected me really quickly. My electric went out in my kitchen. Even now, and it's not working. They're supposed to come back and fix it. There's an extension cord going from my kitchen to my living room. It is a fire hazard, in my opinion. So I need to work with my landlord to fix it. You may have something similar going on in your home life. Please find ways to fix it. Okay? All right, Aquarius. This has been my reading for you for the month of March. Next, we have the sign of Pisces. Hello, Pisces. I love Pisces too. I told you I love all the last 4 signs. like all of the last four signs are really me. Pisces, you've got a lot of emphasis in you this month. It's all been about you for the month of March, Pisces. The sun has been in your first house. Mercury has been in your first house. Neptune has been in your first house. There was a new moon in your first house sitting on that Neptune. And, you know, right now with Mercury going retrograde, Pisces, you're thinking about how you're just thinking about yourself in general, I think. But it may be you're reflecting on you. You're reflecting on maybe the things that you've done for the year, over this past year, or what you've done for your physical self, like your body or your image, or the way you feel about yourself. And you might even be looking into things like meditation, self-improvement, mantras, affirmations, self-conscious body image improvements, all of those things. You may be changing the way you see yourself. Actually, with the sun there, right in your first house, Neptune right there, you're changing your image. Image is all changing. With Mercury retrograding, you're going back over things and reviewing things and reviving things and just maybe finding ways to actually repair the physical self. Whatever ways you come up with to do that, by all means, Pisces, this is the month, do it. The other emphasis for you, Pisces, in this month is the second house of money. This is emphasis for several people, but it's a little bit different for you, Pisces, because Chiron is now in Aries, and the sun is going to be going into Aries nearing on the 20th. And so there is going to be some emphasis in the second house. When the sun goes into the second house, I think it's going to really be positive because it's going to put the force of the sun behind your money and your possessions. But right now, Chiron is there, and it's telling you to take a good look at your finances, to take a good look at what you possess, what you own, what you have, and to take stock of these things and to fix what needs to be fixed, to heal what needs to be healed. Do you not feel like you have enough? If you feel like there's a lack, or this sense of lack, then Chiron coming here is going to make you aware of the sense of lack and aware that you have to heal this area where this sense of lack exists. And so you're going to be really dealing with this. And this is really going to be played out on the 20th when the sun is in Aries in the second house, and the moon is opposing it in the 8th house in Libra. And with the moon in Libra in the 8th house, it could just be that it's all going to come out and you'll be aware of it, because it could be that other people owe you money, or that you were expecting money, or you're expecting something from someone else, or it could be that legal documents have to be signed that day, or legal documents are signed or they're not signed, and so it throws you into like a tailspin. But be aware that Chiron is going to be opposing that full moon that day, as well as the sun. And so that whole second house, which is my money versus the money people owe me, or my money versus my partner's money, or the money my partner owes me versus the money I actually have. That's all going to be played out that day. One of the other places I want to talk about before I go is the third house. You're going to have a lot of emphasis in the third house starting March, because Uranus has gone into Taurus, and it's in those early degrees of Taurus, and because it moved out of Aries and now it's in Taurus. I just realized that because it was at 29 degrees of Aries, but now it's in Taurus at 0 degrees, and Mars is also in Taurus now, and so there is a emphasis on your wow, this is your communication. You're another one with communication. And this is actual, lots of it. Like with Mars in the area of communication, and I just realized that Uranus is down there too. It could be sudden communication. Wow, you are going to be communicating a lot. Be careful in your short distance travel, like driving in cars or bicycles, or even when you're out walking, just be aware of what's around you in your neighborhood and your surrounding area. Also in your neighborhood in general, be cautious of your neighbors, because Mars and Uranus, Mars is action and it can be aggressive activity. And so you might have arguments with your neighbors. I hope that doesn't occur, but it just could be you're more active, right? And you're doing more. You're just doing more and you're more active. And this is a good thing. It could be more activity with family as well, like extended family, brothers and sisters and cousins and aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews. And just be aware of having arguments with them, because I always think of arguments when I think of Mars. And I especially think of arguments when I think of Mars in Taurus, because Taurus well, they can be a little stubborn. And so be aware of that, of any of that stubbornness when it comes to communicating with family and things of that nature. Overall, though, I think it looks good for you. All right, Pisces, I think you've got a good month coming. And I think once things go into Aries, it's going to just put more emphasis into money. And that's always good. So good luck with that and have a wonderful March. And I'll talk to you in April, Pisces. So that has been my reading for all 12 signs. I finally got finished with all of you. And I just want to invite you all to like, share, subscribe the videos here on YouTube, because I really am hoping for your support. And I know you guys are out there, and if you haven't already liked and subscribed, then go ahead and do it. Most of you have. But the other thing is that I am giving the free readings on Facebook. And so I don't know if you guys know that, but you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/astrology a look inside, or you can join me on the group, which is facebook.com/groups/astrology a look inside. And that's where we have our little learning center now. And we also have the free mini readings, which I give there. You can also now find me on Patreon at patreon.com/Capricorntigress. Well, much love, much light to you all. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of March, and I will talk to you in April.